So Jones Studio gets its projects in a couple of different ways. I guess the first thing to understand is sort of how the practice is set up. And I usually describe, we have two primary branches within the office. There's the private custom residential work that we do, and then there's the public work that we do. And with residential work, most of the projects come by word of mouth. And what that means is either a former client will refer someone else to us, or a project that we've completed has been published in a magazine, or they've seen it on our website or something like that. They'll find some interest in the work that we do, and then they'll come to us and ask, would you be interested in doing a project for us? And then Eddie or others within the firm will have a dialogue with them, try to understand what it is that they're after. And if it's the right fit, we'll pursue that project. And that covers most of the residential work that we do. On the other side, and it's kind of an interesting thing to me in sort of a breadth of work, because on the opposite end, we do very large public work. We do both university projects, we do projects for the federal government here, and as well as municipalities, counties, things like that. Public work in the United States is generally obtained through what's called an RFQ or RFP process. Request for qualifications or request for proposal. Throughout most areas today, they don't procure design work through a low bid scenario. And we aren't particularly interested in work that would be sought after in that way anyway. What we're more interested in are projects where you pursue something based on qualifications. And in a case like that, the entity will put out a solicitation and basically say, here's what we're looking for. We want certain information from you, the design firm that's pursuing this, for us to evaluate and see if you're the right fit for this type of project. And generally the information they want to know is, what are the past projects that you've done that are relevant to this project? So let's just take, for an example, an academic building at a university. Say it's a business school or a law school or a performing arts center or a student union or something like this. They're going to want to see that you have done work that is relevant to that project. And then they're going to want to know who are the members of the team that you propose and what are their qualifications. And so that's where we'll look at our office and we'll see, who's available and what's their experience level. And so usually you need a project manager, you'll have a head designer, you might have a project architect. That's the person that's sort of technically assembling the details for the building. And so those types of folks, in addition to a principal, it might be Neil, it might be myself, it might be Brian or Eddie, that's the principal in charge. Those are sort of the core team members that you might assemble to propose for a public project. And then the last piece would be, most of the time, is some sort of what they'll call a project approach. And that's where they'll want you to describe a little bit about how, if they hire us, how would we go about delivering their project? Because every project's a little different and every firm has a little bit of a different approach in the way they do things. And so we will assemble this proposal, and then they'll review all the proposals they receive. Sometimes a project might get 25 different firms that'll submit for it. And so their selection committee, in the case of this example, let's say it's a university, the university's committee will review all the proposals they get, and generally they will shortlist a small amount of those firms to get more information. It's usually 3, sometimes 5 different firms that they'll select. And then they will ask you to put together a presentation building upon the proposal that you put together previously, and come to them, sit in front of a selection committee, and give them information about about you, more information about you and how you're going to approach this project. And then based upon that, they'll usually select a firm, and then you go through a contracting process and off you go.